Antia Boyd
and Brody Boyd.
And we're the creators of the Magnetize The Man Summit. So really excited for you to jump right into the next interview because we have created this for you to stop attracting emotionally unavailable men, overcome your trust issue, and so much more. So you attract that right man for you that makes you feel seen, cherished, and supported.
Can't wait to see you inside the interview and get you on the path to magnetizing your man once and for all. See you there. Look forward to it.
Mwah! Hey, this is Antia Boyd, leader of the Magnetize The Man Summit, where single, successful women crack the attraction code and live their happily ever after. And speaking of happily ever after, you also need to make sure that you have your sex life in order for that to happen. So for that reason, I have this wonderful woman here with me today in her living room. We're in her living room. So welcome in this very intimate space. So thank you for having me, Susan.
Yeah. Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm so happy that we have an intimate conversation today.
Yeah, this is Susan Bratton, and she's a trusted, hot sex advisor, ladies, okay?
You did that perfectly. That's exactly how I like to say it, because then people go, oh, wait, is she hot? Or does she like hot sex? And I think you should be both.
That's what I just thought. That was exactly my intention.
Yeah, it always makes you think a little, oh, hot sex or hot sex advisor?
So Susan, tell us a little bit, like, for, this woman who's just watching right now, it's like, who's single and struggling with trusting herself and certainly trusting men, like, how can she even, like, start relating to herself sexually, that she feels sexually safe?
Well, one of the things that I think is most important for you to think about is, what is it that makes you feel safe if you're going to be with someone? And a lot of the things I think that are important for women start with contraception and avoiding sexually transmitted diseases and infections. Because we're, as women, so susceptible to getting STIs, because basically our vaginal mucosa and our mouth, it's all the same tube. It's one end is the other end. It's like an absorbent sponge. And so we can really get bacterias, viruses, infections of different kinds. And in all honesty, a lot of guys, they will slip the condom off, or they will try to talk you into having sex without a condom, and a condom doesn't even completely protect you. So I think you have to start with, what are your sexual boundaries around safe sex? Do you want, before you sleep with someone, do you want them to go get tested? And you're in your every right to request that before you have sex with someone. And I would recommend that you make a guy wait to become monogamous with you and to be tested before you have sex. But if you can't, then what are your safe sex boundaries? And always, just like consent, understanding and knowing what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do with a guy will make you feel more safe. Another thing that I think is really important is the environment, like how it's so intimate here because we're in my home and the lighting is nice and we're sitting close and, we're sharing with you. And I think that environment, what I call the lover space, is a very important thing to women. So asking for what you need when you do decide to become intimate with someone is very important. For me personally, I like to not be cold, not be hot. I like the light to be nice so I look beautiful. So like a warm orange glowing light, maybe screw in an orange light bulb into your lamp in your room. I want the sheets to be soft. I want there to be some towels that I like. I want there to be candlelight, a pitcher of water. I like to have, maybe some fresh fruit, watermelon or some strawberries that we can be fed by our lover. You like that? That's a good one for you. Yeah, you get hungry making love. You need to have a little bit of food.
Absolutely.
Right? So just thinking about things like that make you feel safe. So discussing your boundaries, knowing that you are giving this lover consent and what you're okay with and what is totally off limits. And if they're pressuring you in any way, you shut it down because you're in control. That's really important. And then I'd say the third thing that makes women feel safe is being given enough time to get fully turned on. You know, at first when we're with a guy or a woman, and we have that new relationship energy, we might be really excited, really turned on, really well lubricated, things like that. But you still, even if you're really turned on and you're like ready to like go for it, you want to have a hot makeout, whatever it might be, giving yourself time to get what I call fully engorged, which means not rushing your own erectile function. So many guys, it's easy for them to boing, get an instant erection and they're ready to go. But women, I need half an hour at least of foreplay and kissing and massage and sometimes talking and conversation to really drop in with my lover. Some looking in the eyes and really connecting and getting into heart space. And, I like it when he puts his hand on my heart and his hand on my yoni. Anything that you need to feel really sensual and cared for and desired, you need to guide your lover to give those things to you, because it doesn't necessarily come naturally to them to know to do that. And so instead of getting disappointed in them because they're not giving you what you need to feel comfortable, you just need to tell them. Especially men, testosterone-driven creatures. They're very goal-oriented. And really, one of the things, now I've worked for over a decade with thousands and thousands and thousands of men as well as women. And what I have found with men is that they live to serve the goddess. Now, 1 in 10 human beings is probably on the sociopathic, problematic, depressed, whatever, emotionally negative side of things. So you want to get to know someone before you get intimate with them and really vet their emotional states and make sure they're not an abuser or a freaking rapist or, whatever. You've got to be careful. You've got to own your own safety. You've got to hold your boundaries on it. And practice makes perfect on those things. If you've had bad experiences in the past, like who hasn't? We were talking about that before. So many of us have been hurt in some way sexually by, as a child or in our dating life. But, hope springs eternal and we live to have passionate connection, right?
Absolutely.
And so if you vetted the person and you trust them, then tell them what to do in a way where you invite them to give you what you want rather than boss them into doing it. That works really well with guys. A little checklist of things. What makes me feel really good is when you do this. And then the minute they do a thing that you've asked them, really make a fuss over it. Because guys like to win. They like to be your hero, your champion. They like to worship you and pleasure you. Guys want to give women incredible pleasure. They're actually biologically driven to do it because their job is actually to procreate the species, and they want to inseminate as many women as possible. And it's not that they want to rationally, their bodies want to do that. And so if they don't give you great pleasure, they won't get invited back inside the love cave. And so they want to know what to do and they want to do a great job, but they don't know what they're doing. That girls are very inscrutable to them. They're not like us. And so the more that you can say, oh, you know what I really love? They'll be like, what? Tell me. Because they love the feedback. So I think if your initial question is really about safety, it's owning your own safety, protecting yourself against STIs and conceiving if you don't want to. It's about setting the space for yourself and saying what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do and hold strong to what you want as a woman. And then that just creates the safe place for you to relax and to let go and to surrender into that pleasure with that person.
Yeah, absolutely. I really get this, especially knowing how to communicate, having that confidence to communicate with the man, then automatically has this woman really trust. herself, right? That
Yes.
she's going to set the boundaries, or that she's going to speak up,
Yeah.
like what she desires, right? And what brings her pleasure, right? So she can seduce the man with her words and with her energy.
Yeah, I like that. Two things that you just said are things that I'd like to respond to. And that was very insightful. One of them is that we women are cyclical in nature, hormonally cyclical, as you well know. We ride those cycles all the time. And so sometimes we feel like a kitty cat, and sometimes we feel like a tiger. And men they have a diurnal, they have a daily up and down of their testosterone. It tends to be higher in the morning, which is why they wake up with morning wood. But they tend to be pretty straightforward and almost always happy to serve us and service us. But we need to tell our lover what we're in the mood for in the moment. And the way that I like to do it is with a technique from my Sexual Soulmates book.
Oh, yes.
Which is the gift I'm going to give you, which is called the Sexual Soulmate Pact. It's one of the 6 essentials to connected sex. I've studied what makes a lover a soulmate. How do you co-create that really passionate, surrendered, completely pleasurable bliss that you can get into, that state of bliss that you can get into where you're not feeling worried about anything. And one of the best things is a communication technique called the Sexual Soulmate Pact. And it's an agreement between partners that acknowledges that we are animals. I mean, we love to think how smart we are and all the things we have in our rational minds, etc. But at the end of the day, we are kittens and we are tigers more than we are anything else. And if we honor what's going on with us in the moment, like, I really want you to squeeze my nipples very hard, or I really want you to press down on my clit really hard, or I want you to just touch my clitoris with the lightest touch. I just want you to brush across my nipples today because that's what feels good to me right now. The more that you tune into what's feeling good for your kitty cat in the moment and you communicate that, and the more he understands that you're going to have all those, that whole spectrum will be his playground as he makes love to you over time. You'll have all those experiences, but right now what you're doing is what I call reporting in from your animal, where basically you've acknowledged that you're an animal, that you have not a lot of control over what she wants from minute to minute, and that you're just going to clue him in so he can do the best job possible to please you. Then he gets the information that he needs to win, which is what guys really want. They want to win. And so creating that agreement in advance of making love with someone where he feels like there's no ego problem. How could he know what to do when you're just learning about it minute by minute and telling him, ooh, harder, softer, to the left, to the right, rub my belly, oh, my toe hurts, fix that first before we go any further, because I can't, if my feet hurt, I can't have sex, you know, right? And so,
Serious problems.
When your feet hurt? Yeah, I know. Women's feet hurt. We wear all those sexy shoes, darn
Exactly.
it. Yeah, it's the bitter and the sweet, right? So when you get that level of communication with a partner, and I have never made love to anybody who once I said, let me tell you about this agreement that we can create. I've never had anybody say that was a bad idea. They've always been like, I got more feedback from you than anybody I've ever been with, and I feel like I've been the best lover ever with you because you told me how to give you that pleasure. Thank you so much. You made me the hero I want to be. And so a lot of women come into their relationships thinking that you'll hurt the guy's ego. In reality, it's just the setup. It's just creating the right frame for him to win. Like, dude, I want you to have all the information so you can just be we can be incredible together. Let's take this girl for a ride, you know, and he will love that. So that's the Sexual Soulmate Pact. I will give that to you, and you have a link, I think, in the video
below.
And
yes,
below.
absolutely.
Great. So there's a link down there, and you can have that for free. That's one of my free techniques, and it's one of the things that helps women feel the safest, is knowing that they can say anything, and their partner is hungry for the feedback. They love to hear what you want.
Isn't your kitty catty purring right now? Right? But Brody and I, we always talk about that the wild woman inside of us, the wild man inside, and that what would you tell a woman who's not really, has a really hard time connecting with a wild woman because she judges it. She's like, I'm not that primitive. I'm like much more sophisticated. I'm much more classy. What would you tell this woman?
Well, two things. Number one, I would say that your sexuality is a fundamental part of your existence. And that over time, if you've come from an experience of being repressed, shamed, abused, living in a family that didn't touch and love, never having any models for passionate lovemaking, who has? Hardly anybody. A lot of people think, well, my parents never even told me about sex. Well, nobody's did. I mean, they tried, and you did the biggest eye roll in the world when you were 14 or whatever, and they didn't know that much themselves. So your job is to own your own sexuality and figure out where you're going to take it yourself throughout your whole life long, because it always gets better and better. As we mature, we get more sexually sophisticated. Our tastes change, our needs expand, our desires get more flavorful. And so just know that you're on a journey, and treat yourself with love around that journey. But also, if you want to be very sexually expressed and you feel reserved, really look at, identify what it is. Is it a body shame issue? Is it an I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy? Is it a sex is dirty or naughty and I shouldn't like it? Try to pinpoint with as much accuracy as possible where you might have some beliefs that you'd like to exchange for new ones. And then really, when you hit up against a wall and you're feeling some fear or some uncertainty or some shame or just some holding back, give yourself a minute to just breathe through it and remember the sweet girl you are, and that you deserve to have really hot sex. Practice makes perfect.
Yeah, and just really to get unleashed.
Yes.
Like just really like taking off your coat and your appearance and your, right? Like that you put on. Like I know you're putting that on, and that's why you're not attracting the man to you, right? So that's like a big piece.
Yeah.
And I love how you explained that it's really like part of the evolution. It's not like something you can just cut out.
It's not a switch.
Yeah, it's not like, no,
it's a practice.
I'm just not that kind of person.
It's a journey.
It's like, no.
Another thing that really helps with women who have some reserve about sexuality but really want to be self-expressed is to find a man who's willing to both totally hold a sacred space for you, at the same time he's willing to take you. He's really willing to bring his masculinity. Maybe you want him to get on top of you. You want to be on your back. You want him to hold your hands down and get on you and kiss you and, tell you what to do and make you do things. And sometimes, as long as there's always a safe word or a way that you can say, hey, okay, that was a little too much, let's back off a little bit. As long as you feel comfortable doing that, sometimes asking a man to really bring it, move me around on the bed, tell me to get down on my knees and kiss you, whatever it is, just like really just like running the bedroom game, taking control. Most women tell me they want a lot more of that than they're getting, but guys are afraid to do it because they don't want you to think they're trying to rape you or go against your consent. So if you start with, I have boundaries, like I don't want to do anal. I don't want to, have you make love to me without a condom. You have to wear a condom, whatever your rules are. And then you say, but I really want you to let's just role play. You just be the beast. You be the animal. You paw me and you move me and you do these things. And if there's anything that's a little too much for me, I'll let you know, but you just keep going unless I tell you. Assume I'm liking it, but know that I'm like kind of like you're swamping my nervous system a little bit. And so I want to just like let go and let you do it and let's try it. And that can be a really good thing. A lot of guys have never been given the permission to do that themselves. And so they need the practice too. You know, so if you're in it together, like an erotic play date, which is like a lovemaking date that you plan to learn to do something new together. And that is something that really makes it nice for couples. When a couple learns things together, they really feel like they get even closer.
Yeah,
because they're both being vulnerable. It's as vulnerable for him to run the bedroom game as it is for you to surrender to it.
Absolutely,
But
absolutely,
it's
100%.
fun. It's so fun. I love that super masculine, especially strong women.
Yes.
I'm a super strong woman, and oh man, I just love to be taken by my guy. You
right?
know? It's like, woo! It's so good, so good.
If you're not already turned on,
That happens.
naughty. But I think that's like such a good point that you're bringing, because I'm really feeling how it's almost like I have tears in my eyes thinking about how many women are yearning for this surrender.
Yeah.
They really want to be taken and just they don't allow themselves to do that, so they're always holding on, and what you just described allows them to just like let go of the world, let go of responsibilities, and let go of herself. Really. Right?
Let go of your ego and let go of your ego and surrender into the feelings and sensations of your body and stay present with your lover. Every time you start to dissociate, you drift off, you start thinking about something else, bring yourself back to the sensations in your body and the lover in front of you. Look in their eyes and connect with them again, because that will help you over the hurdle of any shame or repression. And tell your partner, you know, I was raised in an extremely religious household. They told me sex was dirty. I want you. I want to be with you. I don't want to be held back. I want you to be the man that can take me to places I've never been taken before. But I have to go slow, and I want you to hold my hand and pull me toward you and keep me with you and keep me in this moment and be together in this moment. Any guy that you give that much power to, he's honored by that power.
Oh, absolutely. Like I found like that men get really like emotional
Yes, of course.
about that, because you're like, you give me the permission that I can be myself and I'm not being, because you know so many men are being wronged by society alone. Let's not even talk about that. Plus all the women who are emasculating them because they're afraid of themselves, of their own pleasure. Wouldn't you agree with that?
I think that's a very insightful statement. Yeah.
So that's really something you want to look at, right? Like what Susan described. And another thing I really love is making the distinction, like, why are you sexually closed off? Is it because you have shame? Is it because you have body image? Because that's really different. That's really, really different.
They are. Yeah, you want to deal with each thing separately. One of the things I can tell you about body image is that, we're estrogen driven as women. Men are testosterone driven. And testosterone very seldom has an issue with a woman's body. Testosterone loves the feminine form. It desires your jiggly parts. It's called gynoid fat. And your butt, those things on the side of your thighs, your belly, your breasts, even, the jiggly stuff on the back of your arm. Men love to feel that fat. That is the most delicious feeling thing in their fingers. Now, there are some men who like a very lithe woman. They like a real, hard-bodied woman. That's their style. But generally, no. Men like to feel the soft things in women. That's what they don't have that they're drawn to. So they don't see cellulite. Your ass looks great in that position. I guarantee you it looks great in that position to him. So forget about what it looks like and just start getting back to what it feels like and the pleasure that you're having from it. And pretty soon those body issues will go away. The other thing about body issues is it's never going to get any better. It's probably only going to get you know, you might as well love what you have right now, because you can have sex till the day you die. We're born sexual and we die sexual. And you can have, starting today, a fantastic sex life for the rest of your life that just keeps getting better and better and better. Getting on what I like to call the upward pleasure spiral, where the two of you, like a DNA spiral, you're just going up and up and up in delicious joy, in satisfaction, in depth of connection, in deepening intimacy, in surrender. All of those things get better, but you get uglier, older, crepier, cellulitier, all those things. It's almost like they're opposite things. Like the prettier and more perfect you are, the less you can let go. And the older you get, you're like, oh, screw it, I'm old. Let's just get down, daddy, and have some fun, you know? And so it's funny, you kind of crest over to a certain point where you're really hard on yourself, maybe in your 20s and your 30s, and by the time you get in your 40s, you're like, well, it's all heading south anyway, I better have some damn fun. And so you start having more fun and you get less hard on yourself if you're lucky. And if you're lucky, you can get rid of that early and be like, who cares? Hey, he wants to sleep with you. He likes you. He wants you. So zip. And when those things come into your mind where you're doubting how you look or whatever, push them out and get back into the sensation and connection with your lover, and stop wasting time on stupid stuff that doesn't help you get forward.
I wish every woman would think like that, right? The world would be a better place, Susan.
That's why we're here.
Right? We're helping you. So what would you tell a woman who's like, because we talked a lot about pleasure.
Yeah.
And what I see so often is like the women that I work with, they're really afraid of their own pleasure. They rather work on life is hard, it has to be hard. I mean, you know, there's only one thing that should be hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But other than that, it's almost like this coming up, you know what's coming up? It's like, yeah, I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to receive all this pleasure? Or, oh, I received that pleasure, now I give this pleasure back to you. What would you tell those women who are just really hard of like building pleasure? They're just getting to this threshold and then they're out.
I think I would say, here's a cheat. Because if I tell you not to do it, you're going to do it anyway, because you've got some core wound. And I would start looking at some core wound work. I like Dr. Susan Campbell's work. You might not know her. I can introduce you if you want to. I've done a lot of discussion with her around the basic core wounds, how they're set in, and how you unseat them and move on. But generally, I would say that if you don't feel worthy, and you're working on your core wound and you're trying to get over it, then what I would do with the cheat is I would basically say, just enjoy your pleasure in the privacy of your own house and in the privacy of your lover's house. It's your private time. No one has to know. And this is kind of like a similar thing to anything that you do where it gives you pleasure but you don't tell other people. Just keep it to yourself and don't let anyone know, and go ahead and take the risk to enjoy yourself and see how it goes. And then maybe as you begin to experience that pleasure and you're working on those core wounds of not feeling like you are enough, that will go away and you will have practiced having some pleasure, and then you'll be able to supplant that and the core wounds will begin to disappear as you understand that you are a pleasure being.
Just alone how you speak, just the energy that you exude makes me aware we are pleasure beings, right?
Definitely.
So just really take that voice in, that energy in that Susan is sending you your way, and allow that to open you up and have that be your first step.
It's not a surprising question that you asked that of me, because one of the things that I do as a trusted hot sex advisor to millions is give people permission. You would be surprised at how often people just want my permission to enjoy themselves. It's like they have to have the permission from some external responsible source. No one ever gave them the permission and they didn't feel like they could take it for themselves. I give you the permission to have as much pleasure as you'd like to have in the rest of your life starting today.
So take that in really for yourself, that you deserve it.
Yes.
Pleasure up, girlfriend.
Yes.
Okay. And attract that man of your dreams. So Susan, thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure, Antia.
Here. I learned so much. I mean, I just have to go into the bedroom now and do something else.
Was that an offer?
Naughty.
That's me.
So again, the gift was the Soulmate.
The Sexual Soulmate Pact.
The Sexual Soulmate Pact.
Yes, that's the communication technique that will make asking for what you want a pleasure for your partner.
Awesome. So, and we have also the link below. So make sure, obviously you want to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
I don't need to say more. You know what I mean? Do you want more of Susan? I know it. We all do.
More. So much more.
Was that absolutely delicious? We just love how every single expert has those juicy pieces of wisdom for you to enjoy. Look, if you want to own the entire Magnetize the Man series, we invite you to get our Magnetize the Man VIP All Access package. Not only will you own the entire video series, but also you will get our Magnetize the Man Masterclass that teaches you the 3-step formula, step by step on how to attract the right man for you. You also get some other juicy secret trainings and a one-on-one call with me where we personalize your individual journey to attract that right man for you as soon as possible. So look, to get that, click the link below that says get access now, and you get it all. Own the entire series, including all the juicy bonuses, well worth over $1,400 for nearly the fraction of the cost. All right, we will see you in the next interview.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.